Hey guys, welcome on into Amanda's Favorites. Today we are going to have a review of momAgenda, and I like to do my unboxings on here now. So let's jump right in. I have not opened this box. I only cut it open with the box opener, and we are going to open it together and see what they have sent me to review. Okay, so we have the Spiral Edition planner. We have the desktop edition. I think this is the momAgenda one and not the myAgenda. We have some pen holders. Oh good, the matching one. I love this color. They let me pick my color, you guys. And a little magnetic, a bookmark. I really like their pen holders. They work really well on the bound planners. Another pen holder and matching magnetic bookmark. Two of their Coiled clip-in bookmarks. Their monthly adhesive tabs. Some more Coiled clip-in bookmarks. Oh good, one of their pockets to stick in. Oh, this is beautiful. This color is really pretty. This is their big home office edition, and this is their desktop. This must be the myAgenda. Okay, we are gonna get into all of this right away. I can tell that there is a change in the covers, you guys. Don't worry, we're gonna talk all about it, but I have to fully investigate them before I speak my mind. But it was really a hard bound cover. It's no longer a hard bound cover, so it's very thick, but it is flexible. There's been a cover change, and I wonder if there's any other changes inside. I will do all my pen testing, use them for a little bit, look through all the pages, and I will be back to share all this with you. All right, guys, let's chat all about momAgenda. It is not just for moms. I first want to dispel that myth. They have a whole line that is called myAgenda. We're gonna go over that too. There are very little tweak changes in case you just don't wanna go around with a planner that says mom on it, but can someone who's not a mom use momAgenda? Sure. Can someone who is a mom use the myAgenda? Of course. It's really whichever one you prefer. They do have different colors of paper. I would say that's actually the biggest difference between the two is the myAgenda line has cream paper with gray lines. The momAgenda line has white paper with a light blue line, kind of giving you a throwback to notebook paper feel or school feel, which honestly, I kind of love the fresh look and vibe of that. But we will go through that extensively and look at every detail. So we're gonna look at their bound desktop edition for myAgenda and momAgenda. I'm gonna share with you the coil for the momAgenda line. I'm gonna share with you the coil for the big desktop office momAgenda right here. We're also gonna talk about their tabs, their pen holders, little magnetic clips. So we'll throw all that in there. But one of the interesting things, if you haven't been here and seen that in the past year, I actually used momAgenda for a good amount of time. And I loved using momAgenda because of the page layout being very open for me to be able to tweak and draw in my own lines and making my own list categories at the bottom. So I didn't actually use it the way this planner was built and intended to be used, but it worked so well for me. So I'm gonna share with you later in this video how I used it, how I tweaked it to make it work for me, and what I loved about momAgenda. So let's jump in without further ado. And I wanna make sure you know I have a 15% off code for momAgenda. You have to enter that every time at checkout, but you can use it over and over again. I also have an affiliate link. As we jump into their desktop edition, I do just wanna say that it's raining outside and it's completely dark here today, like in the middle of the day. Usually Texas is full of sunshine, but it's a very dark and rainy day. So if my lighting looks a little bit different, I've done the best I can with my lighting, but that is why. Okay, so every year they come out with new colors for their covers for you to choose from. This is very similar to the cover last year if you had it, in that it has texture, it is wipeable. I love this fresh looking seafoam green color. It reminds me of the ocean color in Destin, and you guys know how obsessed I am with that beach. So I had no problems choosing this cover, although they have a lot of beautiful bright colors this year. It will say momAgenda on the front, and then the year. These are 18-month planners. They start in July of 2024 and go all the way through the end of 2025. What are the advantages of that? Well, we're going to talk about that as we go through here. Number one is just you're able to pre-plan way far out. So even when you start, your new school year, it doesn't matter if you're in a calendar year or an academic year planner, this gives you the best of both worlds. You won't be switching planners around a really busy time of year in December, which I always find a really hard time to straddle two planners, to be honest. And so I actually usually pick academic editions, also just because I was a teacher, and then I went from that to my kids being in public school, and then we went from that to homeschooling. So I've done it all, but it's always been connected to the school year. And I do love being an academic year planner. And I found being in this momAgenda last year, I actually really liked it being an 18-month planner because like I said, I could always look ahead and plan ahead. And then when you get your new planner, just transfer it into there. So you might switch your planner still every 12 months. And many people like to do this with other 18-month planners too, I've heard. But they choose to get an 18-month planner just because of the planning ahead option and not straddling two planners where you don't have anywhere to write anything. So their planners are 18 months and will give you that. Let's walk through it from front to back for those who have never seen momAgenda. It comes with 2 satin ribbon bookmarks. They are pink in the myAgenda line. They are cream and they reach all the way to the end. You can open it that way. It's a great length. They're great little bookmarks. I utilized mine. You can get your name on the front of your planner if you so choose. It says the years on the side there. You can buy a pen holder. I really loved their pen holder. I used it all last year. It functioned really well. It never came off, and they make it to match the same color as your planner. So I would totally say it's a win and suggest it. I forgot though that I like to put it down a little bit lower on here. Last year I put it a tad lower. So when you stick your pen in, it goes all the way down to the top of your planner instead of sticking above your planner. So don't stick your pen holder too high up when you stick it on. I stuck it a bit high up this year, but if you use a pen that goes all the way down in it, it'll still work. If you have a thicker pen, it'll stick up. So that is stuck on there. Their end pages are this pink striped in the momAgenda line, and you can purchase pockets separately. I showed you taking out the pockets of the box. I already stuck them in 2 planners. So if you'd like a little pocket to stick stamps or cards or whatnot, you can line up the lines perfectly so it looks like it came in your planner. Now, if you used this last year, there is a difference in the covers because this is a hardcover last year. So it's like, this is very hard. You can knock on it like a door, right? A substantial hardcover. They have changed this year to it is a flexible cover. So it is still pretty, it has substance to it for sure. It's not like completely flexible. It's not like you can fold it directly in half, but it is not hard like a door. You hear that? It does have substance, but it is not like this one. Okay, so now that we've covered that, I know some people will say they like this change and some people will say they don't. It gives you this little bit of feeling of flexibility. It feels really good in hand and it makes it a tiny bit lighter weight in my opinion, and in just the width and feel of it if you're putting it in and out of a bag every day. So that is something to think about. Let's stick those in there and now let's do our complete walkthrough. When you open up, you get your nameplate page. Go ahead and write your name in there. This is the 2024 to 2025 year. Of course, I do not write my address or phone number in here because I show my planners all the time on YouTube. Here's a letter from Nina, the founder and president of momAgenda. I just did a planner chat interview with Nina. So if you'd like to get to know her, hear the whole momAgenda story about how it got started, I will link that down in the description for you guys. Then they have a how to use this book up front, just ideas to use the different spaces. This is a 7x9 page, and this planner is going to be $48. Up front in the momAgenda, there are little differences in here. You have a lot of space for some info up front. These pages are tinted a pink with pink lines. You have family member information, important phone numbers like babysitters, takeout, health clubs, kids' favorites, more important phone numbers. And this is all about your car though. License plate numbers, make and year, all your vehicle information, service information, and your auto insurance information. if you like to keep all that in your planner. If you don't, just, ignore the pages. So they're there if you want to use them. And if you don't want to, that's totally fine too, of course. Use the planner how it works best for you is what I always say. There are absolutely no rules in planning. Websites and passwords, if you keep that in your planner. Adults' medical information, kids' medical information here. That, of course, will not be in the myAgenda, anything that's specific to kids. Birthdays and anniversaries, you have your whole year laid out in this 2-page spread. And then you have what's the gift for that anniversary year, and zodiac signs and symbols, so where their birthday falls, and birthstones and flowers. So everything to look up if you're looking, they're turning, their 10th anniversary. What is that one? Interesting enough, it's aluminum and tin. Or you want to know a birthstone or flower for somebody's birthday in June. It's the pearl and the rose. So that's all there for you. You have holidays laid out for 2024, 2025, since this planner covers both, but you also have it for 2026, even looking ahead. Continued over here, holidays. Then you have a whole year at a glance for 2024 and 2025 to be able to highlight on here for days off school, for travel, trips, anything, however you use your year at a glance spreads. Now, this is something that's unique to momAgenda, I feel like. Even though it's a dated planner, all your monthly layouts are up front. So actually that makes them really easy to find because you can just flip from month to month on your monthly layouts. Now we'll talk about the tabs. I put the tabs on the myAgenda to show you guys. And I only put on 6 tabs here, but just to show you how they would look. They look really nice, but I put mine on the weeks because all your months are up front. And so I thought, well, I wouldn't really need the tabs there, to be honest, because they're just all up front. So I put it where the month starts on your week. So there's 2 different ways you could use the tabs in this planner. If you want to be able to flip to your weekly layouts really quickly. 6 months fit going down in this book on their tabs, and then you would start back at the top and go for your next 6 months. Of course, this is an 18-month planner, and so they do give you the full 18 months worth of tabs. They are gold foiled. Your tabs are going to be $13.95. This has 3M adhesive on the back and sticks really well. They are very thick tabs and have the word on the front and the back of the month. And I don't think you will have any problems with them. Now, I have not utilized them myself for a whole year, but they worked really well sticking them on here. So you can decide where you put the tabs. Let's look at the monthly layout though. So you have all your monthly layouts up front here for planning. Once again, we start in July 2024, go all the way through December of 2025. So that's where your months are going to take you. It's kind of fun to think that you have all that through the end of 2025 in this planner, and it doesn't feel big or bulky or heavy. So you go through the end of 2025 and then your weeklies start. Here is how your month is laid out. You have your big date header here, a little room for a quote or anything you want there, or a sticker or washi. You have your previous month, your next month at a glance, a quote, and then you have holidays noted right at the top near the date. I like that it's small in the top line because I don't usually write on the top line right by the date. I love that the monthlies are lined. So many people want lined monthlies, and there are very few planners that actually have them. There are a lot more that don't have lined monthlies. So it's a lined monthly as well as a note section. You can see all the light blue lines throughout, yet the print is in kind of a charcoal gray. I like that it's not black and really dark. I think the color and aesthetic of the page really appeals to me as being lighter and brighter. So here's the way your months look as we flip through, like a month with a lot more holidays. And I will note these planners lay flat very well. You just at first have to give it a little massage. And I always left my momAgenda open on my desk, just completely open all the time. And it got to where the more you leave it open, the more it lays completely flat. And so no matter where I was in it, it was laying completely flat. So there's your monthly layout. Something else to note is that it is a Monday start on your monthly layout. So your weekends are together, Saturday and Sunday. Now I have gotten to where I can really use either way. I can do a Sunday start on my monthly or a Monday start. And here's a trick that a friend told me. Jana told me that she draws a highlighter line or a marker line, whatever color pen you want, around her weekend when Saturday and Sunday are together there. And that just in her mind, like alerts her, this is a Monday start. And so your mind goes, oh, that's the weekend, and separates it. And I actually really love that. It has worked so well for me to do that. Let's see, even though I don't use my monthlies, if you follow me and follow my own personal planning on here, you know, I don't use my monthlies in my planner except for maybe some random notes, but I did draw around my weekends in this planner like that. And it really helps me to wrap my mind around it when I am looking at my monthly like that. But like I said, I don't use my monthly for all my planning and my planner, so it's not a huge deal for me. Anyway, I always use a little monthly planner up on my desk, the Ashley Shelley monthly notebook planner, because it's small, and I just stick that up on my desk, and I share all about that in my personal planning videos. I use that more like a wall calendar, except it sits on my desk on a little easel because I love to always see my monthly. I don't want to have to be flipping to it. But I actually liked having the monthly here. As you noticed, I used quite a few of the monthlies to write in notes and just like big plans on there, so that they were just kind of in there if I wanted to flip there, and kind of notes of like big things to get done that month down the notes section. So I actually liked having them just for extra notes and recording things. I think it'd be fun if I ever used a monthly in my planner, like just for recording like a win every day and having that reference with my weekly planner. So there's lots of ways you can use the monthly, like meal planning, a gratitude every day, wins every day, if you're not actually using it in that planner like I don't. But you have all of this ahead. So once you get this, you can plan through the end of 2025. As a planner, I don't know why, but that just feels really good. Okay, so jumping in, I thought I would do a little personal planning in here, although I will show you more of this at the end. But here is just how you might use it. And I have a lot of other ideas that I wrote in the myAgenda too. This is the layout of the momAgenda, where you have a bigger space up here with your lines, and then you have 4 spaces down here, plus a tiny dinner space at the bottom. These are meant to go for 4 kids. It is labeled kids there, very light. However, I just ignore that because I didn't use it in that way. So it is very easy for you to utilize however you wish. Many people use these 4 categories for all different things. Like you might use it for your workout. So you write in there which days you're doing what workout. I might do it for just for my channel work. What's my big item that day for my channel work? Or home, like what housework or kitchen work, food prep am I getting done that day? And then I might leave a space for my one kiddo left at home here for his schedule. And then dinner down there is that tiny space at the bottom. A question they get a lot is, what do you do if you have 5 kids and you really want to utilize these spaces, one for each of your children, to see their schedule? That's what the spaces were intended for to start out for, but people use them for so many different things. But if you did have 5 kids, you could draw in. So this encompasses 3 lines. Just go 3 lines up, draw in a whole line here, and just add in a 5th kid space there. That's what I would do. If you just need a smaller space, you could always take over, commandeer your dinner space for that 5th kid. So those are some ideas there. I'm going to show you some other ideas that were actually on the momAgenda blog that is hooked to their website. I just wrote down all their ideas. And here you'll also be able to see the color difference in pages really well. But here are some other ideas to use for these spaces. It could be housework. It could be your steps for the day. It could be like your dog, put their name there. And if they have like meds, or what days did you take them for a walk? I don't know what else you record because I haven't had a dog. So I'm just pulling from my limited knowledge of my sister having a dog. And then you might have a homeschool. You might use this for homeschool, and that one space is enough for you. Here are some other ideas. I just wrote them in these spaces to have them all in one day, but obviously you would put the categories over here. Like you might put care for self, a mood tracker, a habit tracker of some sort. You're tracking something across the week, daily goals, pets, meds you need to take, reminders, an affirmation. You might want to have an affirmation written in there every day, or the same affirmation going across. Bills, a water tracker, clients, work, gratitude, like a daily gratitude. So you could use these spaces like, did you check on the garden and water it, watering the plants, whatever you need to track could go in these 4 spaces, divide it up into those categories. Now, that is how the planner was meant to be utilized. Let's just really quickly look at mine. I will link my quarterly planning updates and stack videos if you're really interested in my own personal planning, where I go way more into this type of thing. I also share this type of stuff on Instagram, but basically you can tell I'm a very functional planner. I divided out this space right here, which is just your my week. That could be anything you need. That's basically like your weekly list, or it could be your top 3, or big appointments for the week you want to make note of. I made that my top 3 for the week. So I really made that box stand out. And then I made this section my basic daily going across. And sometimes I would even draw a line there, like the one big thing from the day, or if I was going anywhere, anything that where I was going, or a timed thing, I would put up there above the line to stand out. Like this is basically my focus of the day. And then this would just flow to the other things that I needed to get done that day. And then down here, I really loved being able to utilize it this way. I just drew a line across those sections on the bottom, and I did not utilize them in the way they were intended. I made different categories. I had my weekly to-do list down here. I had to email or call. I had orders I needed to make down here and errands over here. And each week, I pretty much stuck with those categories, I think. Yeah. Sometimes I would write the weather in at the very, very bottom of the page here. I love that there is just enough space above the date here to fit a washi strip, like the perfect amount of space. And I didn't mind covering up the quote with washi strips because I just really love seasonal touches on my page, and I really wanted to bring in the season. It makes me so happy. And so I would always do washi tape over the quote, and then the washi tape here to bring in a seasonal touch. And then the markers and highlighters I would use to draw my lines in, I would just match to those colors of whatever washi I used and for the season. And you can tell, some weeks I didn't have any errands. I didn't need this extra list room, but that's okay. This gave me a lot of list room here. And it just basically morphed into what I needed it to be every week. It didn't take that long to draw out the lines. And I loved the basic layout of it. And I loved having a bound book that was only 7 by 9 that could stay open on my desk, where I could see the entire week at once. And I could have all my weekly lists and categories down here. Sometimes I tried some different things, like I drew a separate section here and made my list section smaller for what was my main channel work for that day. But that didn't really stick. I was just experimenting what worked the best. I kept that section here, and then I think I dropped it somewhere down the line. I kept it there. Well, it's still there. I dropped it there. Anyway, so this just served me so well. It brought me joy. I found out what I really needed in a planner, getting into this blank space. I just loved having this blank page every week that I could morph and draw in, add my own colors, my own lines. The white paper and the light blue lines, the aesthetic of it just really made me happy and kind of feel like, back in my school days, which, like I said, brings up good feelings for me. That's just a little bit about how I personally use the planner. Let's talk about the paper now. This is 70-pound paper, which translates to 105 GSM. It is a normal paper. It is not extra smooth at all, like no slickness, but it doesn't have like a lot of tooth to it. It takes all pen and marker really well and performs well for me, as you saw in there with how much I write and mark in my planner with markers. Here's my pen test on the back of that 70-pound paper. You can see that nothing is showing through. There is very little. I mean, you can barely even tell it's been written on, and nothing is bleeding through. And I used a really thick dual tip marker, Paper Mate Flare, and a dark mild liner in there. So that is your paper. It is the same paper in actually both books, but different colors, as I talked about. And even though it's listed as the exact same paper, 70-pound, I will say, probably just because they're using a different paper mill, the myAgenda paper has a smoother feel. So it is one that kind of feels smoother and silky. It still took all my pen really well. Here's my pen test in the myAgenda line. And as you can see on the back, when it's written on, You can see a little ghosting, but absolutely nothing showing through there. And you saw my full planner. This is the exact same paper from last year, all written on there. And then, you know, how it looks when each page is written on it in the back of the page. I didn't feel like I was starting on a dirty, you know, page with a lot of ghosting at all. It held up well for 70-pound paper. If you know what kind of paper you like, this is more smooth. This one has a tiny bit of tooth to it. If you're filling it against this one, you can hear that. And let's do this one. You can even hear how it sounds a little bit different. Okay, let's get into a few more details in this one. So your weeks just flow in that way. If you have holidays, note this. Your holiday is at the very top of your page there. More than one holiday is going to take up more than one line at the top of your page. You have your day written really big there, your dates for the week. I actually just like that. I like the font that they've used. To me, it looks old school a little, and I really like the look of it. And there's week 45. So it does tell you the week you're on. That says my week, kids, and dinner. So those little tiny words there are there very lightly. All your weeks flow in that order, and let's check out what you get at the end. At the back, you have a unique planning ahead system here. You have every month of 2026 listed here because your front monthly calendars go till 2025, the end, right? But to plan dates for 2026, look how amazing this is. You have every holiday written in here for you, and every month of the year for 2026 where you can write in appointments, vacation, anything you need to plan ahead, notes down here, weddings that come up ahead, anything for the year 2026. You've already got all the holidays. Your weekend days are a light gray, so it's easy to tell where your weekend is. And all those holidays for 2026 put in here for pre-planning. I actually really love to just look at that. I don't know why. It must be the planner mind in me. Then you go back to your notes pages. They have 20 notes pages back here. They are all lined and they are purple tinted. I kind of love how it's different than a lot of planners in that way. Your front information pages are pink lines and pink tinted. Then you go into white paper with the blue, light blue lines. And then you go into purple tinted and purple lines at the back. It's a really good amount of notes pages, you guys. When they list it as 20 notes pages, that is like 20, I believe, just counting pages. So front and back, that would be like 40. I mean, look at that. That's a good note section where you don't need to carry around a separate notebook with you. You have an 18-month planner, yet it doesn't feel bulky, okay? So, something else someone also wanted to always make sure that I talked about is how are days done when you have those extra days on some of the months that you have to split days. This is the way they split days. So they always have 5 weeks going down, and when you have to split days, they split them horizontally, and those extra days actually get one less line down there, but you do have the blank space at the bottom. So in December 2024, for instance, the 30th and the 31st are down there and split horizontally. And your incoming days for a month are in light gray, so they're still numbered, and I actually really appreciate that on calendars. Or your outgoing days, if that's the way the calendar goes, are in a light gray, but still numbered. So that is your entire momAgenda desktop edition. You guys know I really have loved using it and loved mine. So that's why this review seems a little bit more personal, because I actually had my own personal planning to share with you. Let's compare that with the myAgenda. So we've already talked about the paper color difference, but just one more time, since we're opening it here together, there is a big difference. This is a cream paper. This is a white paper. This is dark gray lines. Now, here's the difference. You don't have anything over here that says kids. It still does say dinner. It still says my week. It still says the week number. So everything else is the same there. Up front, you don't have pink striped pages, you have gray stripes. It does say myAgenda by momAgenda in kind of a coral color. You have the introduction letter from Nina, the how to use this book, family members information, important phone numbers, more important phone numbers, all those are kind of the same, like takeout, delivery, restaurants, health clubs. You just don't have the kids stuff in here. More important phone numbers, your car, important information, websites and passwords. Medical information for me, for partner. You don't have the kids stuff. Birthdays and anniversaries page is exactly the same that we went over. Holidays is the same all the way to 2026. 2024 and 2025 year at a glance, and then you go into your monthly layout. So that's really the only difference in the coloring of the paper and lines. This is cream all throughout and a dark gray. And when you look here, your back pages are, once again, your line pages cream and dark gray. Same future 2026 planning at the back, and all your weeklies in a row. All your months are up front. Same 18-month planner and cream colored ribbons. Isn't this coral color beautiful? These two together just remind me of summer and the ocean. Beautiful colors. Okay, so that is your momAgenda and myAgenda desktop editions. They are $48. Don't forget, if you're making any purchase at momAgenda ever, to use my discount code for 15% off Amanda's Favorites. You can use it every single year over and over again, and my affiliate link. Let's look at their Coiled edition here. It is exactly the same as the bound, except it is coiled. Your pages are just under 7 inches, so just under 7 inches by 9, which is actually the exact same page size as the bound. So it just looks different when it's in a bound book, but it actually is the exact same page size, and it's actually the exact same layout. I stuck the pocket in here for you guys because I wanted you to see that you could use the pocket. It comes in a 2-pack for the pockets and $12.95 for a 2-pack. You can use it in your coiled or in your bound. Your coiled comes with this opaque, really thick plastic cover on the front to protect it. It says the year. It says momAgenda. You have gold O-ring coils without a hard cover. I actually like this because it feels so much more portable, so much more lightweight than a hardcover would. And I feel like hardcovers are the things that sometimes get caught up on O-rings that people don't like, but this never does. And your O-ring is not huge. And I feel like when O-rings get big is when they cause you the problem. Yet this is an 18-month planner. So the exact same planner, all the exact same items. This is the momAgenda in here, and your calendar's up front, but in a coil bound version. You can buy a 2-pack of these bookmarks from them. These are $7.95 for a 2-pack, and then you could use them year after year. And you could really use them in probably a lot of O-ring planners. They would work. But there you go. They're gold with actual measurements, and it has the little momAgenda logo there. One says this month, and the other one says today. So it's really nice if you are buying the coil to pick these up because you can pop it in. It's the exact right size and fit. They're thin. They work really well. I totally give these an endorsement and recommend them. If you are purchasing the coil bound, they slide. You can stick it on the month you're on, and then you can stick it on the week you're on. So when you shut your book, you can find it really easily. Now, if you're someone who always leaves your book open on your desk, you might only need the this month bookmark, but they come in a 2-pack. And you could always put this one at the back to like mark your notes pages or some month in advance that you want to mark. And so if you flip it over, it's nice if you're not someone who doesn't have a lot of desk space, or if you just prefer to have this where you flip and see, you'll see Monday through Wednesday on the left and Thursday through Sunday on the right. Everything else is the same in this book, down to the notes pages at the back. And so it's just in a coil bound option. Really beautiful covers. I love this one that I picked. So that is your spiral bound option. All right, last but not least in this review is your home office edition. This is $46. And I forgot to mention that this spiral edition is only $40. I really love what they've done with the covers on these this year. It's like a linen, like faded. It's beautiful with the gold foiling. They put my name on it for me. And once again, you have the smaller O-ring coil. This is a hard cover with rounded corners, which you guys know I'm a huge fan of. And this comes with tabs and a pocket already in it. Your pocket is very wide, huge. Unlike the pockets that you stick in these pockets, you know, are not huge. They don't come out like an accordion pocket. They would only hold a small amount, but this is an accordion pocket that will hold a massive amount. In your home office edition, it is a white with the gray lines. On both the front and the back, you get those amazing accordion pockets. Then you have your nameplate page. This is a big book, you guys. This is 9 by 11. Okay, so think about that. A printer paper is 8.5 by 11. This is 9 by 11. This gives you massive pages, all rounded corners. All the corners in all the momAgendas are rounded, which I love that touch. Your letter from Nina, how to use this book, same information here that we've already been over in the front. So we're not going to go over it again, but I want to show you how big, some of it looks. So if you just like a bigger planner, if your eyesight isn't so good, if you write bigger, if you just like a lot of room to plan. I've also heard of people using this as kind of like a daily, weekly planner combo where they don't need a daily and a weekly planner anymore, because I'll show you the weekly pages. They're so big that they can fit their daily list onto each day. Once again, your rulers might make a really good purchase to go along with this one. And like I said, you use them year after year. But look how big this monthly layout is. So if you want substantial room on your monthly boxes, lined boxes, big note section, all the same layout, but just made bigger. Here's something to note. There are 6 lines in these monthly boxes. There are 6 lines in these monthly boxes. That's not counting the bottom line. So you're not getting more lines, you're getting a little bit bigger spacing. So if you're someone who wants to write a little bigger, although to me, they're not overly big. It's a really nice size. You're getting bigger boxes also width-wise there. And in this home office edition, it is cream paper and the gray, as you've already noticed, even though it's the momAgenda. So this is the only one that's labeled momAgenda that has the cream paper and the dark charcoal gray printing in it. So note that even though it's momAgenda and the rest have the blue lines and the white paper, this one does not, the big home office edition. Also, something different is you have tabs in this one, laminated tabs. The page is not thicker than your paper, but the tabs are laminated and I think they're gonna hold up well. And then your tabbed monthlies are right before your weeklies in this one. So this one is different because you don't have your months all up front like all the other versions. You get your monthly and then you go straight into your weeklies. And let's look how big this weekly is, because it is substantial, you guys. Okay, something else to note is the same thing about the monthlies. You don't get more lines, it's just bigger spacing in between your lines. So there are 16 lines right here in your front top section, and there are 16 lines right here. You have 3 lines in each little section, and you have 3 lines here. You just have bigger spacing. So in this bigger desktop version, these are 1/4 inch line spacing. These lines are a little bit smaller than 1/4 inch, 1/2 centimeter to get an exact measurement. So that's just something to note. You guys know I'm someone who writes a little bit bigger. And while I would probably say, yeah, I could have used a tiny bit bigger lines, these lines worked fine for me. They also helped me to fit more on a smaller page. So they weren't overly small for me. But these are just giving you like the 1/4 inch lines bigger. So you can see how people say they could use this for their daily planning too, because there is so much more room. Even though it's the same number of lines, I just feel like you do have a bigger width this way, so you can fit more on your line going across here. These are your typical 1.5 inch columns. That is a very typical 1.5 inch column width. This is almost 2 inches, just right under the 2 inch mark. So that's almost a full 1/2 inch bigger in column width, exactly 5 centimeters. Of course, just a much bigger space at the top of the page. Your months flow that way where all your weeks are in between your months. So this is not an 18-month planner. This is actually a 14-month planner, if I counted that right, because it starts in July of 2024 and ends in August of 2025. So this is just giving you a couple of extra months there, but it is not your 18-month planner. When it ends in August of 2025, that's the last month in here, you have a note section even tabbed and labeled, and you do have a good amount of notes pages in here too. It doesn't seem quite as many as in the other ones. I'll have to check on their site and see how many are listed in here, because it doesn't feel as many as 20 that was listed on the other ones. And then you end with your accordion pocket. And as you can see, even though it's big, it is very slim. So it doesn't feel like too heavyweight if you needed to be carrying it around in a bag every day. Their pin holders, like I mentioned, match the planner covers. They also sell little magnetic bookmarks if you want to pick them up. These are actually pretty thick, thicker than other magnetic bookmarks. I don't personally use these in my planners. I actually use them in like novels I read or homeschool books. But if you wanted one to match in your planner, let me show you how thick it is sticking it in here, because I just want you to know, because it has the cover thickness on it and then the magnet. So it doesn't lay completely flat. It is a pretty thick, you know, you will open right to your page. You won't be searching for it on there because it's pretty thick, and you have to be okay with it poking out like that. So those are some extras. I appreciate you being here with me. I'd love to hear all your thoughts down below about momAgenda and myAgenda line. Don't forget about my 15% off code if you are making a purchase ever, and my affiliate link. These are launching right now. They have just launched, so you can go shop them right now and get your brand new planner for 2024, 2025. Take care of yourselves so you can take care of others, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.